I hope you're well and you've had a great week so far wherever you are in the world. So let's get started, because today we're going to be talking about the single most powerful tool for B2B lead generation on the planet, LinkedIn. And with over 1 billion members, if you're selling to other businesses, this is no longer optional. It's where your customers are, it's where your competitors are, and it's where you need to be. But the game has changed, and the old playbook of just posting and praying, it's broken. AI has flooded the platform with generic, soulless content, and everyone is shouting, but no one is listening. So how do you actually generate leads from this platform, and how do you build a system that works going forward? And that's what we're going to break down today. I'm going to give you the strategic overview of the entire LinkedIn lead generation system that I use and many of my clients use. And this is the big picture. This is the framework, but it's packed with practical, honest advice that you need to make it work. We'll cover 7 core pillars. And first, we'll be covering the foundation, which is clarity of proposition, then your profile. Then we'll be looking at the content strategy, and we're going to go a wee bit deeper on this one, your connections, your engagement, and the brutally honest truth about LinkedIn ads. And finally, we're going to do a little bit piece around webinars. By the end of this, you'll have a complete strategic roadmap, so let's get into it. So pillar 1, the first thing you need to be clear about is your proposition. Before you do anything else, you need to be crystal clear on this. Who are you? What do you stand for? What problem do you solve, and for whom? You need to know your ideal customer profile, or you'll hear about ICP inside out. If you can't answer any of these questions in a single sentence, all the tactics in the world won't save you. No matter how much content you put out, it won't connect with anyone because you're just not clear about what you're providing or who for. You need to know your framework, your methodology, and your unique point of view. And this is the bedrock of everything else that you do. Pillar 2, and this is your profile. And this is your kind of your digital storefront. Your headline, that bit right under your name, shouldn't just say Managing Director of XYZ company. It needs to say actually how you help people. Match it with numbers, or things like, I help manufacturing SMEs reduce waste by 20%. That's a result, and that's a real promise. Make sure your profile is up to date, and I mean really up to date. If you're still talking about a job you left 3 years ago, or you haven't updated your headline in 18 months, it tells people you're not active, you're not engaged. So make sure you update it regularly. Be really clear about who you are, what you do, and who you help. Your About section, which is your chance to sell your story. Don't ignore it. Don't just list your credentials. Tell people why you do what you do, what's your point of view, what do you believe about your industry, and make it really personal. And your featured section, and that's a bit right under your profile summary. If you're promoting a webinar this month or a new service, put it in there. Keep that content really fresh. Use it to promote yourself. That's going to be your personal billboard, so make sure you use it. Don't let it go stale. Make sure that you're rotating it monthly. If you're running a webinar, feature it. If you've got a new course or offer, feature it. This is prime real estate on your profile. Pillar 3, your content strategy. This is your engine, and it needs a structure. A content funnel which has top, middle, and bottom. And if you're doing 3 posts a week, the breakdown is really simple. 1 post at the top of the funnel, 1 in the middle of the funnel, and 1 at the bottom of the funnel. But if you've got more capacity and you're doing 5 posts a week, the breakdown slightly changes. So you'll go for 1 at the top of the funnel, 3 in the middle of the funnel, and 1 at the bottom. So why 3 in the middle? Because the middle is where trust is built. It's where you move from being a vendor to being a real thought leadership voice. It's your how I content, your personal stories. It's what separates you from the AI noise. People have always resonated with stories, and the more you can tell about your personal experiences, the better. Your 3 middle of the funnel posts could be, for example, on a Monday, a personal story about a past failure and the lesson learned. This builds vulnerability and trust, and people connect with real humans, not that polished perfection. On a Wednesday, a strong contrarian opinion on an industry trend, and this positions you as a thinker, not just a doer. It gets people talking. And on a Friday, potentially a behind the scenes look at the client's success story, and this shows proof. It shows what's possible. It makes people think, I want that. The key is variety. You're not just teaching, you're not just selling. You're building a point of view. You're showing who you are and what you believe. To write these powerful posts, I use a simple 4-step structure called the SLAY framework, and that's SLAY. So story, lesson, actionable advice, and then back to you. I'm going to do a full deep dive episode on personal branding using this framework soon, but let's get deeper into each step. So the story, this is your hook, and make it really strong. Those first 2 lines, because it needs to be personal, relatable, and specific. Don't say, I helped a client improve their marketing. Say, I had a client last year, a brilliant software company, but they were losing deals. They kept getting to the final stage, presenting to the board, and then nothing. Radio silence. They were convinced they needed to add more features. Lesson, this is the bridge. What's the insight? What's the universal truth you discovered? So after digging in, I realized the problem wasn't the product, it was the pitch. They were selling the what, the features. Our software has AI-powered analytics and a real-time dashboard. The board didn't care. They were speaking a different language. And then we move on to our actionable advice. This is the value. What can the reader do with this information right now to change how they do things for the better? So we completely change the narrative. We stopped saying our software has AI-powered analytics. We started saying our software tells you which part of your marketing channels are actually making you money and which are a waste of time. That's valuable advice. We didn't change the product, we changed the promise. And then the you. This is the call to engagement. You turn it back to the reader. When was the last time you audited your own value proposition? Go and look at your website. Are you selling features or are you selling a future that your customers would desire? Are you selling the what or are you selling the so what? See how that works. It's a story, not a lecture. To find your own stories, here are some prompts you can use with ChatGPT or a notebook. Things like, what's a common mistake I see in my industry and what's the story of how I learned to avoid it? What's a recent client win I'm proud of and what was the small change that made the biggest difference? What's the best piece of advice I've ever received and how did it change my approach to my business? What's a belief I hold about my industry that most people would disagree with? What's a behind the scenes story of a project that didn't go to plan and what did I learn from it? Pillar 4, your connections. Who sees your content? You decide. Every single day, send out 20 connection requests to people in your ideal customer profile. No pitch, just a clean connection request. You're designing your audience by doing this. There are automated tools like Meet Alfred or HeyReach that can actually help you do this, and you can be doing it whilst you're sleeping. But a word of warning, be careful on the cost because some will get you in on a free trial and then quickly upgrade you and the costs ramp up quite quickly. So keep an eye out for that. Pillar 5, your engagement. Comments or content in 2026. When you leave a thoughtful, insightful comment on someone else's post, you show up in your ideal customer's feed. And for goodness sake, don't use a generic copy and paste AI comment like, great poster, thanks for sharing. It's seen as being lazy and LinkedIn doesn't like it. So be human, add to that conversation and add value to the conversation like you would if you were out networking. Here's what makes a good comment. It adds context, it adds a point of view, don't just agree, expand on the idea, add even your own experience, For example, if someone posts about lead generation, don't just say great tips. Instead say something like, I completely agree with your point on email sequences. In my experience, the timing matters more than most people realise. I tested sending follow-ups at different times, and Tuesday at 2 p.m. converted 40% better than a Monday morning, for example. The psychology of when people are receptive is underrated. Do you see the difference between the two? In one, you're not adding any value, and in the other one, you are adding value. You're showing your expertise. You're giving people a reason to click on your profile and see what else you have to say. And when people comment on your posts, you respond to every single one. It tells the algorithm your post is valuable and it shows you care. This is how you build a community, not just an audience. People will remember the people who engage with them as well. They remember the people who took the time to respond, because the people put a lot of effort into their posts when they're putting them out. That's how you build loyalty on LinkedIn. Pillar 6, your LinkedIn ads. Now let's talk about paid ads. This is where you can pour fuel on the fire, but it's also where you can get badly burned. Here's my brutally honest advice. Do not test new content with an ad. Test all your content organically first. See what resonates most with your current audience and see what gets the most likes, comments and shares. Only then should you put money behind the winners. I see so many people with a have a go attitude to ads. Please do not do this, because you will only burn through money. These platforms are very quick at taking your money, and even if you've made a mistake, there's no chance of getting that money back. This isn't about me, by the way, selling my services. This is about giving the honest truth to make sure that you make the most of your budget. You can burn through a lot of money very fast, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to maximize your budget. So if you're serious about ads, hire an agency or a freelancer to get you set up properly. Learn from them. Then maybe you can take it on yourself. But do not start tinkering, because you will just blow through money very, very quickly, having experienced that myself. So now LinkedIn has also introduced personalized ads. This is a newer feature that allows you to create highly targeted campaigns based on job title, company size, industry, and more. It's incredibly powerful. But again, the same rule applies. Test your content organically first, then amplify what works with paid ads. Also within this, you've got LinkedIn forms inside your LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has its own native lead forms. So instead of clicking your ad and being sent off to a website, the form opens it up inside LinkedIn. It keeps people within the ecosystem, and it keeps the customer journey smooth so that they don't go from one place to another. It reduces that friction. Because the form can be pre-filled with their details from their profile, such as name and email, job title and company, they're not typing everything out. They're just confirming and clicking submit. So it makes it easier for them to engage with you as well. For things like webinar signups, guides and hand raisers, this can lift completion rates because you're not breaking the flow and hoping that they come back later. You're making it easier for them to say yes. Pillar 7, webinars. So webinars are one of the most powerful ways to generate high quality leads, but there's a specific way to do them that actually works. I'm actually going to do a full podcast on the webinar strategy soon, but here's a quick overview that I'm going to take you through now. You need a two-pronged approach, and you also need LinkedIn and you need email. You do your invites through LinkedIn, but you must also use email to get people to attend. So maximize that email list you have. Your webinar registration page is how you build your email list. Every person who signs up is raising their hand and saying, I'm interested. That's a warm lead. Make sure you promote your webinar in your featured section as well on your profile. Put it in front and center on your profile. If someone visits your profile, they should see that you've got a webinar coming up. It's another way to direct them there. It's a great way to convert profile visitors into attendees. And the email sequence is critical. You need a confirmation email the moment they sign up, a reminder email 1 day before, a reminder email 1 hour before, and a follow-up email afterwards with the recording, and if it's right, your offer. Now, there's a very specific way you need to structure these emails to get and webinars to get emails from them, and again, I'm going to do a full podcast again on that soon. But the key point is, webinars are not just about delivering value, they're about building that personal relationship. They're about getting people to know you, like you, and trust you. That's when they're going to be ready to buy. And here's the thing, a webinar is also a content asset. You can repurpose it, turn it into a blog post. You could turn it into a video series with YouTube shorts or reels. Turn it into social media clips across all your platforms. One webinar done right can generate leads for months. So there you have it, the 7 pillars of the LinkedIn lead generation system. A crystal clear proposition, a results focused up-to-date profile, a structured content funnel with ideas for content, daily connections to design your audience, thoughtful, valuable engagement to build visibility, a cautious and expert-led approach to ads, and strategic webinars to build your list and generate leads. This is the framework, and it's not complicated, but it really does require a level of consistency from yourselves. And that's the wrap up for this week. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, please reach out in the comments. I respond to every single one, any questions you have. And if you've liked this content, please like, share and subscribe because it makes a huge difference. Have a great week, and I will see you next week.